Atlas by T.R. Joshua. A story told by Clark Fulton as Mr. Wiseman, Shabba Cochran as Miss Wiseman, Teresa Thomas as Josie Rodriguez, and Preston Scott as Devin, Tommy, Big Kane, Mr. Rodriguez, and narrator.
Every child on planet Earth aspires to be someone great. However, as crime, political corruption, and global warming signs begin to overflow our worldly nations, we look for a hero, a symbol of hope. Is there someone that we can believe in?
I have faced global threats, demons, and worldly corruption that turn nightmares into reality. I've put my life on the line for those who care about me, as well as those who deem me a criminal, a vigilante, or a freak. But I was given a blessing, a way to bring hope to the world again. I love what I do.
Green Atlas yells out. Page 2. Running down the sidewalk of his inner city neighborhood.
My name is Devin Wiseman. There was a time when I was always afraid, but that was long ago.
Looking out over the roughest areas of his Chicago neighborhood at nighttime.
As a 17-year-old boy living in an environment of high peer pressure, this story begins with lies and survival.
Day 1.
Everything is fine, Mom,
Devin answers. Devin is talking on his cell phone with his concerned mother.
I'm sorry for not telling you that I'd get home late.
Devin apologizes.
But Tommy's dad needed some extra help in his auto shop. He offered to pay me. I know we need the money, and I just want to do my part to help out the family.
I know. I'm sorry. Devin apologizes again.
Yes, Mom. I'll be home for dinner. Love you too.
Devin thinking to himself.
She deserves better.
Devin paces back and forth, stressed.
Dang! So what should I do?
He mumbles to himself.
Hey!
Tommy yells.
Hey, man. Are you trying to grow some wings, dude?
Tommy chuckles.
Big Kane is calling for us. Let's go.
Tommy urges Devin.
You know how he gets when we're not on time. Let's go.
All right. I heard you the first time.
Devin replies sarcastically.
We'll get to the Carter house on time, man.
Page 3. Big Kane sits on a luxurious red couch, surrounded by 2 huge henchmen, one on each side. Big Kane directs his lackeys and gives orders.
I never wanted to get involved with drugs. Lying to my parents was never part of the plan. But what can I do when things never change in our neighborhoods?
Tommy and Devin are riding their bikes toward their neighborhood together. With his eyes squeezed shut, Devin is showing signs of tension and stress.
My buddy Tommy supposedly needs me,
Devin thought to himself.
But why is an extra guy needed? I regret running guns and drugs for Big Kane. I remember being told back in those days that we are products of our environment. I still remember how badly my legs were shaking as I rode my bike back home. Still aware that we had another meeting tomorrow. All I could think of was keeping my promise to my mother about dinner. But man, my family sure could use that money,
Devin says aloud to himself. Day 2. Next morning, as Devin lies in bed and stares at the morning light sweeping across his bedroom ceiling, his phone rings.
When Tommy called me the next morning, I wasn't surprised. Yeah, I'm awake, Tommy,
Devin replies.
It's early, but I'm ready. Are you on the way over?
He questions.
Cool. See you in 5,
he says and hangs up. As Devin digs in his closet for a clean t-shirt, Tommy enters his bedroom through the window.
I don't know, dude,
Devin begins.
Know what?
Tommy replies.
I think we're getting in over our heads with this job. Kane's guys are crazy. Just out of loyalty, they do anything Kane says without hesitation,
Devin explains.
Dude, don't worry about them. I have a plan,
Tommy replies, leaning his head into his palm nervously. He thinks to himself,
just because we basically have no choice does not mean Tommy should be so happy about this.
Dressed for school, Devin enters the kitchen and sees his dad eating at the kitchen table.
Good morning, son.
says Mr. Wiseman.
Good morning, Dad.
Devin replies.
So, how'd it go with Tommy's dad last night?
Good. Some of your tips helped me out a lot.
Is that so? I find it odd that Tommy's dad needs you to work so late. Are you sure you don't need to tell me something?
Mr. Wiseman asks.
Yes, sir.
Devin replies sarcastically.
I basically made $250 for only a 4-hour job.
He adds proudly.
But I know I should have called about dinner last night. That's my fault, Dad.
Devin apologizes again. Page 4. As Devin sits at the table nervously, his mom places her right hand on his left shoulder, looking proudly at him.
Hey, honey, would you like some pancakes?
Asks Miss Wiseman.
No, Mom. Thanks, but Tommy and I really need to get to school.
Devin answers.
Okay, sweetheart.
Mr. Wiseman's hands are intertwined behind his head, while Miss Wiseman stands beside him, rubbing his shoulders.
Having a great father is hard to come by. I always looked up to my dad as an action figure or a movie star. Man, he was tough as nails.
Well, I can get a second job too.
Miss Wiseman suggests.
No, baby.
Mr. Wiseman smiles back.
I know it's not a good feeling living paycheck to paycheck, but I'm the man of the house. I'm not going to allow my family to starve.
He promises.
My dad was a great man. He was our Atlas, holding the problems of the world on his shoulders. He was my great Atlas. That was my dad.
We're a team, you stubborn man.
Miss Wiseman chuckles.
And more important than that, we're a family. We'll find a solution.
My mom is a rock. I can't ever say those days were perfect. Far from it. But we were a great team.
Devin walks outside of his house to meet Tommy.
Hey, man. Damn, dude, I'm still tired.
Devin states.
Did you see on Facebook that there's going to be a meteorite shower this weekend?
Asks Tommy.
No.
Devin quickly replies.
I didn't get a chance. I had to study late for my chemistry test.
Well, we're going, Devin.
Tommy says.
Jennifer is going to be there with Josie. So this is our chance. We have to go.
I remember Tommy that night. He was super excited. He finally saw the opportunity to have a conversation with his biggest crush. Tommy looked indestructible and gave off the impression of a black Romeo going for his Juliet.
Devin laughed to himself.
Ha! My brother. To this day, I wonder whether he truly understood what we were getting ourselves into, or he simply didn't care.
Devin and Tommy ride through the poorest area of Chicago as they head to school.
Look, Big Kane had more to say last night after you left.
Tommy yells out.
He said that we're planning the transport for this Friday, so I need to make sure you're down with us.
I guess so.
Devin replies.
But you seem very comfortable with this job.
Why not? Look, dude, we need to make this money.
Tommy answers.
Come on, man. It's not like we're using it or something.
Yeah, I know.
Devin replies.
But that doesn't change the fact that it's killing our community and destroying our families.
Tommy stops his bike in front of Devin's to gain his attention.
I know what's illegal and what's not, dude. I don't need you lecturing me all the time about right and wrong. And these are the cards we've been dealt in life, Devin.
Tommy yells.
Yeah, maybe you're right.
Devin mumbles.
Plus, I knew your folks were struggling to get by this month. So I thought this little gig could help you guys out.
Tommy yells again.
But I've never been cool with lying to my parents, especially about something like this.
Devin explains.
Well, there's a first time for everything, dude. You all still need the money, right?
Tommy replies. Devin rests his arms on the handlebars and looks at Tommy with a worried expression.
So what's it gonna be, D?
Tommy asks aloud.
I hated myself during that time because all I had was excuses. But most of all, I allowed myself to be seduced by my environment. Okay, I'm in.
Devin replies hesitantly. Devin and Tommy arrive at MLK Memorial High School. They lock up their bikes.
High school was the only place I could get away from the drama of gang life. I always did well, but that doesn't mean I was the biggest fan of going there.
Page 5. Tommy and Devin are walking down the school's hallway. Devin notices Josie at her locker, talking with two of her friends.
Our school is filled with many types of groups and gangs. The geeks, the freaks, beauties, bros, and us. Popularity wasn't something to be taken lightly. Tommy would often intimidate other kids by beating them up and taking their money. I never saw the point in doing that.
Sitting in the cafeteria, Devin has a complete lack of interest in talking to his classmates and looks down at his books and untouched food. Then, we see a beautiful Latina girl walking over towards him.
Is the seat taken?
Josie asks kindly.
Now, there are always great surprises in life, and some of them are actually quite beautiful. Oh, hey, Josie.
Devin replies.
Sure, you can have this seat.
Thanks. How's that chemistry test?
Josie asks.
Josefina Josie Rodriguez. The only girl at school I actually wanted to have chemistry with.
You didn't call me last night. What happened?
Josie asks.
Oh, sorry about that. I was working late with Tommy's dad, and I made it home kind of late.
Devin explains.
I'm sorry that I forgot to call or text you.
Are you all still having money problems at home?
She questions.
Yeah, I'm trying to help my folks out, but those types of problems don't go away easily.
Devin replies.
Sometimes we just don't have a choice.
Yeah, you're right. Silly me.
Josie whispers.
Is there anything I can do to help?
Thanks, but we'll be good. And I think I'm the one being silly here.
Devin says. Devin has a very worried look on his face. Josie and Devin sit across from each other.
My dad works too much, and money still never seems to be enough. My mom is doing the same.
Devin explains.
I just wish we were in a better situation.
Josie's right hand reaches for Devin's left hand for comfort. He is surprised at the action.
Well, I hope you know you don't have to go through this alone.
Josie replies.
Josie Rodriguez has always been there for me, even at the worst times of my life. She is a true friend.
Josie blushes as she looks at Devin.
Sometimes I felt like I wasn't doing enough for her.
Devin's cell phone vibrates silently. Tommy is calling him. Devin awkwardly rejects the call and rises from his seat next to Josie.
Sorry, Josie, but I need to run. I'll call you later.
Devin yells as he runs towards the exit. Leaving Josie disappointed and alone, he goes to meet Tommy. School just ended.
And other times, I was sure that I wasn't doing enough.
Page 6. Outside the school, we can see a lot of students walking around campus. Devin and Tommy are having a discussion.
What do you mean? Big K needs to see us tonight?
Devin asks.
All we do is move things around.
While talking to Tommy, Devin clears his mind by looking up into the sky.
All right!
Devin yells out.
I'll go, but I just don't understand why we need to go there again tonight. Looking back now, my life seemed to be in a perpetual rush, moving from one thing to the next, never bothering to take time to breathe or enjoy myself.
Devin looks back at his father calling for him.
Devin!
Standing halfway outside the screen door, with a serious look on his face. He is still wearing his work clothes from this morning.
Devin, we need to talk.
Mr. Wiseman calls out.
Oh, sure, Dad. But I'm kind of in a hurry right now.
Devin answers.
Back to work with Tommy's father?
Mr. Wiseman eagerly asks.
Yes, sir.
Mr. Wiseman sighs in confusion.
That's exactly what I wanted to talk to you about, son.
Mr. Wiseman states.
Dad, we already talked about it this morning.
Devin replies sarcastically.
Yes, but that doesn't mean we're done with the conversation.
His father yells. Mr. Wiseman and Devin sit down on their front porch and talk, as Devin looks at the ground and Mr. Wiseman comforts his son.
A kid your age shouldn't be working. You should be enjoying your teenage years, chasing girls and having fun, not trying to provide for the family.
Mr. Wiseman urges.
But Dad, we need help.
Devin replies.
Leave this to your mama and me. We got this.
Mr. Wiseman assures Devin.
But I still went with Tommy to see Big Kane. To this day, I wonder what would have happened if I hadn't.
Page 7. Slamming his fists against the table, Big Kane is clearly furious. Devin enters the panel.
I often wondered why Tommy was so interested in this life of running guns and drugs.
Devin walks in to see Tommy on the ground, savagely beaten with one swollen black eye and a busted lip. Big Kane is standing over him.
Do you know what loyalty is, Tommy?
Big Kane mumbles.
Do you think I'm stupid? That I wouldn't find out?
No, I don't, Kane. I'm sorry.
Tommy cries hysterically. Big Kane starts punching Tommy in the face. Then he looks over towards Devin with a bit of blood sprayed on his face.
You!
Big Kane points at Devin.
Did you know I knew everything?
What do you mean, Kane?
Devin replies.
Where's my money?
Big Kane yells.
I don't know, but I can help Tommy pay you back, Kane.
Devin replies.
No, I got a better idea.
Big Kane demands.
I need you to prove your loyalty.
Loyalty?
Forcing a gun against Devin's chest, Big Kane gestures for Devin to shoot Tommy.
You can choose the silver or the lead.
Big Kane orders. Frightened, Devin looks at his best friend Tommy and feels remorse.
There are moments in our lives that define us and who we're supposed to be. And what was being asked of me in this moment? That wasn't me.
Big Kane is in Devin's ear, trying to make him kill his best friend, Tommy.
So do it. Pull the trigger.
Big Kane yells, as Devin points the gun at Tommy's forehead hesitantly.
I can still hear Kane's words echoing in my ears.
Page 8. Devin throws the gun down on the floor.
In the end, I chose to be myself and not a killer.
I knew it.
Big Kane yells aloud.
Weakness is unacceptable, so I will teach you boys a lesson myself.
I was hired to move drugs, not kill anyone. Least of all, my best friend Tommy.
Devin protests.
I'm done, Kane. I quit.
A close-up shot of Big Kane's face. He is pissed off.
No one tells King Kane no,
yells Big Kane, pointing the gun at Tommy's head. Big Kane pulls the trigger and kills him. Devin is seen in the background, running towards the exit.
You're next. Get back here.
Big Kane shouts at Devin. After Devin escapes, Big Kane is shown ordering his bodyguards to retrieve him.
What are you idiots waiting for? Go get him!
Big Kane orders. Running down a dark alley, Devin jumps over a fence to get to his and Tommy's bikes. Big Kane's two henchmen are right behind him. They are a few steps behind him as he clears the fence.
You feel lighter than ever when you're running for dear life. Even now, the echoes of Kane yelling to his men to get me still ring in my head.
As Devin rides his bike towards home in the middle of the night, he hears a loud roar in the sky and looks up to see it full of bright colors.
I thought that moment changed my life forever.
Meteors brighten the skyline.
Turns out I was wrong, and too defenseless to think that I could prevent what was about to happen.
As red meteorites start to crash into the earth, a small green meteorite is seen heading for Devin in the distance. Devin drops his bike and runs in the direction of his home, but a huge gust of wind pushes him back.
Mom! Dad! No!
Devin yells for his parents. Page 9. Boom! Devin's home is destroyed by a cluster of red meteorites. Page 10. The silhouette of Devin staring at the sheer destruction of everything he once loved. His home. Devin is in a state of pure shock.
I'm too late. I'm too weak to stop this. This is my fault. I will never see my parents again. I don't want to believe this is my reality. Mom! Dad!
Devin calls out fearfully.
Mom! Dad!
Devin yells again and again. Digging through the rubble in hopes to find life, Devin came across his father's work shirt under the debris.
Oh God, no!
Devin cries out. Then he finds his mother's lifeless body. As a green glow approaches from the sky behind him, Devin is sobbing over his loss.
I'm so sorry I wasn't there, Mom.
Devin weeps.
This was the moment that changed my life forever.
Devin looks over his shoulder and notices a bright green light heading right towards him. He tries frantically to run away, but the green baseball-shaped meteorite strikes him in the back. Boom! And that is all I can remember. Hit by the green meteorite, Devin is on the ground gasping for air and screaming for help. The meteor absorbs into his body.
Help me, please!
Devin screams. Page 11. Devin is rushed to the hospital, and doctors tried desperately to save his life. 6 months later,
Your actions define who you are. But there are out-of-this-world elements that magnify the unknown.
resting on a hospital bed, Devin begins to glow bright green as his powers begin to transform his body. He is still in a dreamlike state.
On this cold, stiff mattress, I began to feel amplified. Although I was filled with grief, I opened my eyes to a new world.
Josie and her parents are at the hospital to check on Devin. The Rodriguez family are longtime friends of the Wisemans, so they are talking with Devin's doctor as Devin is lying in the background. Waking up in the hospital bed, Devin notices Josie sitting at his side, reading a book. Devin is completely wrapped in bandages due to the many burns and cuts from the meteorite's impact, so Josie can't see the new Devin yet.
Where am I?
Devin thought to himself.
Hey, Josie,
he whispers happily.
Devin, you're awake.
Replies Josie.
Where am I? Where are my parents?
Devin cries out.
I'm sorry, Dev, but...
Josie is interrupted. Mr. Rodriguez walks over to see Devin, interrupting Josie. He is an FBI agent and wants to ask Devin a few questions.
Are you okay, son?
Asks Mr. Rodriguez. Devin sits up and sobs over the deaths of his parents as Mr. Rodriguez gives his condolences.
Yes, sir. I think so.
Devin replies.
I'm so sorry for your loss.
Mr. Rodriguez says gently.
Do you happen to remember anything? I have a few questions to ask you about the incident.
No!
Devin replies frantically.
Dad, maybe right now isn't a good time to question Devin.
Josie urges.
Let me tell him what happened, and then I can also ask him questions, because it's obvious that he's having a hard time.
I think you're right, sweetie. Your mother and I will step out to speak with a social worker. Let me know what you find out.
Mr. Rodriguez replies. Page 12. Devin looks through his eyeglasses at Josie, and his vision is extremely blurry. But he notices that outside the rim of his eyeglasses, he can see clearly. Devin thinks to himself,
Wait, what? I can't see clearly through these anymore?
Devin is speechless. Devin is surprised that he doesn't need his eyeglasses anymore to see clearly.
How are you doing, Devin?
Josie asks.
It's strange. I feel fine. I can't see through my glasses, Josie.
Devin replies.
It's like I don't need them to see well.
What do you mean? You've always needed glasses.
Josie points out.
I don't know. Something strange is happening to me. I feel okay, but different. It's hard to explain.
Maybe you're hungry. I'll go get you something if you want.
Josie offers.
I'm not very hungry, but would you mind getting me some more water to drink? I feel warm.
Sure.
Devin is lying on the hospital bed and squeezing his eyes tightly as if he's in pain.
I felt a new life draping over me like a blanket.
I felt no bodily pain. Devin's eyes open, and they are glowing green.
What is happening?
Devin thinks to himself. Sitting up in bed with green glowing eyes, Devin looks down and sees his hands glowing green as well.
Oh my God, my hands! What's going on?
Devin yells. Jumping out of bed, Devin runs towards the door, his wrappings and hospital gown flying off of him.
I'm on fire! I'm burning up! I gotta get out of here!
He shouts, a silhouette of Devin running up the stairs towards the hospital's rooftop emergency exit, with outside light coming through the cracks of the stairwell door. Page 13.
Boom!
Devin bursts out of the emergency door exit with a terrified look on his face, almost seeing his new muscular body unwrapped. Devin's eyes and hands are glowing green. He stands up in the center of the hospital rooftop, about to explode.
I could only think of my parents, my father, my mother. Oh, how I'm going to miss you,
Devin says sadly. Devin's powers are beginning to manifest themselves. A swelling of wind and energy collects below him and lifts him off the ground. Devin instantly forms a clear plan of how to save his city. After surrendering myself to the mystical glow, I felt at peace. It surrounded my body. Page 14. Devin blasts off into the sky from the hospital rooftop. And on that day, I surrendered to the Atlas. Page 15. Thus began the legacy of Green Atlas.